some bad science. Heh.
So whatever my answer is, remember that I can only hear 50% of what you say.
Well, only 50% of what you say is going to be remotely accurate. I'm just kidding.
Last time, it wasn't even that much.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Well, not last time.
Yeah. Or no.
Two times ago.
No, last time we were wrong entirely. Yeah. The string theory episode was entirely wrong.
Yeah.
But, folks, welcome back to Bad Science. And I can see you. Well, I can't see you, but you can see me now.
You can.
You can see Dana, too.
I could always see you, unfortunately.
I know. Well, I was about to say, unfortunately, people can see us, and I wonder how many of them would be disappointed to know what we look like. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah.
Because I remember watching a YouTuber back in the day, a Minecraft YouTuber, and he didn't have a face cam, and I saw his face one day, and I was a little disappointed. I was kind of like, that face doesn't match the voice. Not in a bad
unfortunate.
way.
Huh?
Not in a bad way.
Not a bad A little bit in a bad way.
I mean, I still watched
You were
him.
disappointed.
Yeah, but I never had to look at his face outside of the one time that he had his face visible, so it was all right.
Who was it?
I'm not going to tell you that.
What did it start with?
You can also see what we're not sponsored by Cayman Jack.
Made with agave nectar. I have a dog named Gavi.
Some people think my tattoo says agave. And by some people, I mean...
I looked at the wrong arm. It's not on
my
this
empty
arm.
arm says agave.
That one. Nobody's ever told me that mine looks like agave, so you must wear it differently.
I said that people say that. It was really just one person.
Who was it?
It was Joey.
Oh, okay.
Joey.
I forget that Joey knew us like any sooner than 10 years ago. Wait, what? What did I mean by that?
I knew us any newer than 10 years ago.
I said sooner.
Sooner. Do you think that
I
he
think
knew
what-
us in the last 10 years, or do
No.
you think he knew us before 10 years ago?
Yes, before 10 years ago, but not since 10 years ago, which isn't true.
When we've seen him since 10 years ago?
Yeah.
So we got a listen in France.
Yeah, I was like, who do we know that's at the Olympics?
Yeah, I wish it was me.
I wish it was me too. If
I wanna
Snoop Dogg got to go,
Okay, well,
why can't I go?
all right.
All right.
Let me see something.
What are you
'Cause
torturing me with today?
Well, I'm torturing you with something that's even more specific than any of the subjects so far, and I'm
Specific?
and I'm so excited about it.
Well,
yeah.
that's okay. More specific than string theory. At least you have to maybe explain to me what you know, like a string theory, I know that it exists, but I was like, every time I've read about it, I've been like, I don't care about this, and so I quit.
Well-
I wasn't taught string theory.
That's also very apparent because we didn't know what string theory was.
So maybe if it's more specific, you have to tell me a little. Do you have to tell me a little bit about it first?
No.
Okay.
Are you ready? List. Yeah.
No.
List and define all regions of the brain. List them.
This isn't going good.
And
My first
then-
thought was paraplegic.
The paraplegic section of the brain. It's the part of the brain that lights up only if you're a paraplegic, but we all come equipped with it.
I think that might be true. If you see,
What are you about to say? Get your Google out of there. What you looking down at? What?
I'm not looking at Google.
Oh, there's your phone.
Looking at Google.
You just looked straight
I didn't
down.
know what you were saying either. Get your Google out of that. I was like, what you talking about?
Well, you just looked straight down and didn't look
I'm
back up. And I was
ashamed.
like, you are researching stuff under the table, aren't you?
No. The guy that plays video games with a controller, he uses just his mouth and his like chin, and he blows into it and sucks out of it, and it's just like a little straw, and he plays Fortnite with it.
Interesting.
I can't do that,
Have you
but
tried?
I'm sure that I could if I needed to.
You know who
what
that
I
makes
mean?
me think of? That makes me think. Do you remember Johnny Erickson Tada?
Yeah.
Makes me think of her because she would paint with the
Yeah.
paintbrush in her. I almost had the toothbrush
With the toothbrush.
in her mouth, in her teeth.
Yeah, exactly. Things that I don't think that, I mean, we could learn them, but we don't have the occasion to learn them unless we must learn them.
And so your answer is that
No.
this is the paraplegic
Part of the brain.
lobe,
The paraplegic lobe.
like the frontal lobe, but it's the paraplegic.
Okay, so the frontal lobe, the
Define it. You have to define it.
Wait, do you mean it's wrinkly and it's at the front?
I didn't say describe it. I said define it. It's made of gray matter.
It's very, yeah.
What is
I've held a brain.
Cool. What did it do? Wait.
It squished.
Yeah, it sat there.
It had dementia. So the lobes were
Demented.
becoming. Wait.
I think it
No.
was becoming smushy because of all the formaldehyde.
It was already pretty. Yeah, it was pretty smushy. But the lobes were like they weren't becoming smoother. They were becoming more.
Oh. Interesting.
Which meant that it was decaying essentially.
Okay.
And so they were losing, like the person that was showing it to us said, so this is like the term losing your mind is actually true in situations like this because your brain starts to deteriorate and the valleys become more scooped out. Deep.
Defined.
Defined. Yeah. So it's not becoming smooth, it's becoming more rigid, but in a bad way.
Interesting. So anyway, what does the frontal lobe do?
I just remember that when I worked at camp, we would tell kids, make sure that your helmet covers the front of your lobe.
The front of your lobe.
The front of your
Not
head.
these.
Not the, what? Your
Lobes.
ears? Toads?
Lobes.
Lobes.
I don't understand. I'm
I
speaking.
can only hear 50% of what you're saying.
And yet somehow you're still hearing worse with headphones on than when you are just in normal life. So we have the frontal lobe.
The frontal lobe.
And what our definition of the frontal lobe is
It's in the front.
that it should be protected by a helmet if you're at camp.
What a weird way to put it. Define the frontal lobe. Does that make sense?
Define the frontal lobe.
Frontal lobe.
What does the frontal lobe do?
I feel like define the front. No, yeah, that doesn't make sense. We always told them that's where their personality was stored.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay.
That's where like like all the stuff that makes you
Yeah.
is. And so we were like, and kids want to wear their helmets back here. We were like, protect the front.
Okay.
Because that probably is where you're going to hit it anyway. Unless, the front and the back.
Right.
You're probably not going to hit the side as hard as the front or the back.
That makes sense.
And we would tell them that their personality was up front. So that's what I learned at camp.
What's out back?
The pituitary gland
Okay.
is in there somewhere.
Is it in the back? Isn't that the
think
one at
so.
the bottom?
I think it's at the bottom, kind of in the back of the bottom. The back of the bottom. Wait,
The bottom of the back or the
bottom
back
of the back.
bottom?
Wait, the bottom of the back. I don't think it's there.
The bottom of
The back of the bottom. The back of the bottom. The back of the bottom. I think it's at the back of the bottom.
Okay. And what does
Yeah.
it do?
It's a gland. Let me show you what it looks like.
No, you mustn't. You mustn't.
I want to draw you a picture.
You don't. Oh, well, that's fine. If you Google.
I'm not Googling. I'm pulling open my notes. Okay.
But you gotta have to hold this up for the camera.
So, so
Sorry, listeners. This one will be. This one's not.
wait, hold on.
I'm gonna do my best to describe what she's drawing. Hold it up for the camera. Hold it up for the camera. Hold the butt. What? That those. Hold that up. Listeners and viewers, because Dana's not gonna, she's not gonna hold it up, but that is the smallest penis and the biggest balls I have ever seen drawn in my life. Hold that up. I'm gonna do it. Hold that. Hold. Where'd it go? There it is.
You have to turn it sideways. No,
There you go.
not like that.
Okay, go ahead. Continue to explain. This is the wrong.
You got rid of half of it.
Oh, there's nothing there. There is nothing there.
Can you see it?
No, there is nothing there. I am telling you, there is nothing there.
Holy crap, it's huge.
What? Why does that help? Oh, no. You just zoomed in on one ball.
Oh, I know why. It's because it is like this. Okay, hold on.
Is that supposed to be a brain? Is it the gland?
No, it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the brain.
Okay.
And the gland. Imagine the pointy part at the bottom.
Oh,
but
yeah?
go up a little bit. What?
The pointy part? Whose brain has a pointy part?
It doesn't have a pointy part, but that's supposed to be the brain stem
Ah,
that
okay.
starts going down to the mess of stuff in your spinal cord.
Yes. Huge. That was incredible.
The pituitary gland is somewhere in there. Somewhere close to there.
To the spinal cord? To the
Yeah.
stem that goes to the spinal cord?
It's close to there, but it's not there. But
Well,
it's
yeah,
close to there.
the stem is there.
The stem is there. Are we asking if the stem is there?
No.
No. Okay.
Well, maybe it's part of the brain,
So there's also the brain stem.
which is the spinal cord just attaching to the brain, right? I'm serious. I think that's what that is. I may be wrong.
Do you see where I was going with that drawing?
Not in the
No,
slightest.
you don't?
I see
Okay.
a butt or balls.
Okay, so
Draw it in front of the camera.
how?
Hold up your phone with one hand. You're only using one hand. It's still.
Okay, that's not it either. You may need to zoom in on me.
You can see it. Yeah, it'll be fine. It's gone.
Okay.
You should have your iPad. That would be easier on you.
It would be. Okay. I'm
you
trying
have
to
it?
draw it from the front.
From the
It's in my
front.
car.
From the front.
The brain.
Okay.
So like what your brain looks like.
Okay. If you draw one wrinkle, you'll be wrong.
It's better. It's not great.
Okay.
It kind of looks like a mouse. A computer mouse.
Ah, yes. I was trying to figure out where the ears were.
Or
and
a
the
very
tail.
large horse hoof.
I see
It
it.
has to be like that.
Okay, I'm watching.
Okay. So this is the frontal.
Show the
frontal
camera.
lobe. This is the frontal lobe.
Okay.
These are the parietal.
What?
Tall.
I see your flashlight. I see crenulal. Crenulol.
That might be the worst pee I've ever.
Considering it's not even closed.
Oh, that does look like penital. Penital.
So we have the paraplegic lobe and the penital lobe.
There's two parietal lobes.
one on either side.
Over here and over here.
Okay.
This is the front. This is the front butt.
Yeah. The what? Why?
Front. Front. Okay. And
Okay.
then the back one, I don't know what the parietals do. Probably motor function.
That makes sense because they talk about crossing your left and right brain.
Oh, so maybe that's your logic.
Is the frontal or
No,
the
the
parietal?
parietal. Yeah, you're right. Because if you're left-brained and if you're right-brained and you're more creative or you're more
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what
not.
you're saying. Oh, you're either creative or not.
We're not. And then your back brain is called your cerebellum. Look at me.
Is it?
But I think so.
Okay.
And that just looks like a circle in the back. It doesn't. It looks like a beep, beep, beep. You know, like a burp, burp.
Uh-huh.
And that's your cranium.
Your cranium. Is that the whole thing? In the bone?
Wait, what did I say? Cerebral.
You didn't say cerebral. Cerebellum.
Cerebellum. And that's where your memories are stored.
In the back.
Yeah. In the back.
Interesting.
And I think that's it. And then I don't know why I told you about one gland and no other glands, but that's the gland you get.
Okay.
I think that gland helps you go to sleep because the way that I've always described melatonin being released is it just soaks your brain.
I was going to say a gland implies that it is like squirting something out. So
exactly.
your hormones.
Yeah. So, personality, things that make you individually you.
Okay.
And then, I mean, all of it makes you individually you.
Sure.
But your parietal lobes on either side. Oh, and then I know that women have like a little Bandaid or something that connects the two at the top.
Okay.
I just know it's like this little strip of something that connects the two. And I don't think men have it. Maybe it's just less common in men.
Okay.
But I think that women have it and men don't. But I guess, yeah, your front or your left or your parietals also have to do with your motor functions and the way that you think about things and your creativity or your logic. Did I do good?
I guess.
I just had to start thinking for a minute.
I think you did answer the question. I think that's how many regions there are. When I pre-Googled it, I saw that there are 180 different parts of the brain, but I don't think those are all.
Well, I can just tell you about the lobes.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that you've covered the broad
Yeah.
category, and then they break down further, which is interesting because I didn't know that there were that many.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because if you hit somebody, don't do it. If you hit somebody in the head and it busts a part of their parietal,
Yeah.
I don't think it knocks out the whole parietal part. I'm sure it has catastrophic implications,
It definitely does.
but usually you can still be yourself and do okay. And in fact, other parts of your brain can learn to do things that
That's
that
true.
part did.
Yeah, they can
So.
at least make up for it in some capacity.
Yeah.
I've heard stuff like that. I must confess that I know very little about the brain that is in my head outside of its texture,
Yeah.
its relative smoothness
Yeah.
to the rest of everything.
Well, and I took anatomy and physiology a long time ago,
Yeah.
and this was part of it.
I was about to say that's part of why I wanted to bring this up because I was like, she did take anatomy classes. I wonder how
Yeah.
much she remembers
Well, yeah.
outside of the carpal bones.
I remember those really
Let's
well.
say, I'll never
I'll
forget,
never forget
the carpal
those.
bones. List them.
Trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, hamate, pisiform, triquetrium, lunate, and scaphoid.
Okay,
my gosh.
shall we look into the actual definitions?
Forgive the drawings. I had to visualize it. Notice after I did the drawings, I was able to put it together.
Once we got past the penis,
I got past the penis.
several major regions, according to ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. The cerebrum, which is the largest part of the brain, and contains the frontal lobe,
The cerebrum. Okay.
the parietal lobes, the temporal lobes, and the occipital.
Dadgummit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frontal lobes, decision-making, problem-solving, and behavior and emotions, so your personality. Parietal lobes, sensory information,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
touch, temperature, and pain. But that makes sense. So parietal. So here, okay. So I had a lizard. I used to have an iguana
remember
until
him.
he died of old age, which is very nice. That's how.
That is very nice.
And he had a third eye on top of his head. They called it their parietal eye. Oh. And it was how they sensed light and dark.
Yeah.
So that
There's a
makes
little
sense.
sensor. Yeah.
Yeah. The temporal lobes involved in processing auditory information and memory.
Which lobe?
The temporal.
Temporal. Yeah. I forgot about
And
those.
then the occipital is for visual processing, which makes sense. And then the cerebellum, located under the cerebrum, is crucial for coordination, balance, and fine motor control, not memories. Oh, the memory is the temporal lobe.
Okay, do you want to hear where I got that this cerebellum is where memories are stored?
Yes.
Because of Dean Cook.
Dean Cook?
Dean Cook? Is that his name? Dan Cook?
Dane Cook.
Dane Cook? Dane Cook. I'm going to say Dean Cook again.
Yeah.
Wait, what did I say?
Dean.
Dean. What is it?
Dane.
Dane. I'm in trouble today.
It's
Dane.
okay.
It was because of him. In one of his routines, he says something's going to happen, and then 20 years from now, you're going to reach back deep into your cerebellum.
Well, I mean, technically, yes. Oh, no.
No.
Just kidding. Nope.
No, that's where I got it's your memories.
Yeah. I also, this is not me trying to be mean, but you are basing this off of the joke made by a comedian. So
You thought a gizzard was a penis because of
because a
Pirates
child.
of the Caribbean.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say because a child called his mother that, and I was very upset. But that's the rest of the story.
You were more upset because you
I
thought
thought it
that
was
he
a
called her
penis.
an old penis.
Yeah, instead of an old gizzard. Number 3, the brain stem.
Which was still not right. Oh. You
But
didn't
you
put that
said-
in my list?
Yeah, you did.
No, I said you didn't put that in my list?
Oh,
I think I did put that in my list. I think I,
thought
said there's
we
also the
did.
brain stem. Yeah.
I thought we did. Connects the brain to the spinal cord. And it controls essential life functions such as heart rate, breathing, and basic reflexes. That's where the basic happened. The midbrain is contained.
The midbrain.
Yes, the midbrain. It's involved in vision, hearing, and motor control. Pons,
Pons.
P-O-N-S.
Pons.
Pons. It helps regulate breathing and communication between different parts of the brain. So it's where all the little people live and inside out, I think.
But your emotions live in the front.
Well, yeah, but they control it from the middle, right? I only saw that movie once. I didn't even see the second one. The medulla oblongata
It's the medulla oblongata.
controls vital functions like heart rate, blood pressure, and digestion. Notice how many of these things control heart rate. So many.
If one fails, the other ones go, I got it.
Well, I was going to
got it.
say, that makes sense as to why our hearts speed up all the time
Well,
for different reasons.
it's like the medulla told me to.
Medulla told me.
Medulla
and
told me.
Pons told me, and midbrain told me, and yeah. Anyway, so all kinds of stuff there. Okay, and then the da. It's not getting better. I'm the diencephalon, located deep within the brain. So we're talking the middle of the thing.
That's not the midbrain.
I guess not. The thalamus
The thalamus. I remember the thalamus.
relays sensory and motor signals to the cerebral cortex, which we didn't even talk about.
Well, I didn't even care about all that.
Yeah.
I'm giving you the broad.
Well, I
and
didn't
I'm
care
also
about that.
wrong about the broad. In
okay.
some cases.
The hypothalamus
Yes.
regulates homeostasis, including temperature, hunger, thirst, controls the endocrine system by the pituitary gland.
I talked about him.
Yeah. I mean, I think, we didn't get too specific on him, so I'm just going to say you were right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't define him.
Yeah, you kind of did.
I just said where he was.
Well, you said that it has to do with melatonin.
What does have to do with melatonin?
Well, I'm thinking
him?
I'm thinking this because the homeostasis.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That might does that have to do with pH?
pH.
Yeah,
pH for what?
stomach. It's bad. Okay, and then the limbic system.
The limbic.
Yes, a group of structures involved in emotion, memory, and motivation. The amygdala. Oh my God, the amygdala.
The amygdala.
How did I even forget that? I've been watching a playthrough of Bloodborne where the bad big monsters are called amygdala. So I should have been thinking about that.
No, because now amygdala means big scary monster.
But I think about it being the brain thing.
No. Well,
And
good.
it makes sense though, because like in the game, it's Bloodborne. And in the game, you can't see them at the beginning of the game until you get enough insight points. And
Oh.
then you see them everywhere and you realize they were there the whole time.
My brain said that you said inside until
No.
you get enough inside.
No, insight.
I was like, ew.
You can't see the amygdala until you have enough of them inside of you. Anyway,
What part of the brain tries to figure out what people are going to say before they say it and is wrong all of the time?
I'm going to say the midbrain. Vision, hearing, and motor control. So I'm going to say the midbrain.
Hearing and motor control?
Yeah, I'm going to say that those two things are what you're talking about. So the amygdala are involved in emotional responses and memory.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And then the hippocampus, essential for forming new memories and spatial navigation.
I know a band called Hippocampus.
I do too. So anyway, that's what ChatGPT says,
Okay.
which I feel like is a pretty trustworthy situation at this point.
It's fair.
So, according to this website, what is it? Oh, cool. According to the University of Queensland, Australia.
Okay.
Okay, that's what website I'm on. In an article called Mapping the Brain, scientists define 180 distinct regions. in the brain. So it's like all of that mess that ChatGPT said breaks down into much smaller things.
That's fine.
Yeah. Your little penis and balls drawing.
Was it right?
No. The balls were a little too distinct. If you'd smushed them together instead of like this, if they were like this, it would have been fine.
That's what I was going for, but it's hard to.
Yeah, but you differentiated them. It's a little bit too much. But so here, this is here. This is how many, like they're color coded on this. This is how many regions there are.
Yeah.
Look at that. That do different things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't care. I appreciate it, but I don't care.
I think now that we're in episode 6, that we should rename the podcast "Dana Doesn't Care About Science," because when we get into the nitty gritty of it, you go, "I don't care."
I don't need to care.
Sure, you do.
Why?
Because
am I going to do brain surgery on anybody?
Because you
do
got
I need to know?
one of these things.
Do I need to? And do I need to poke it in certain places for it to get to do stuff? No.
You don't know that you don't.
Am I going to have to do emergency brain surgery on someone one day?
You don't know that you won't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Okay, well, if I do, they're going to die. So it doesn't matter if I know what all of those are. It's a pretty picture.
That's not that pretty.
But I don't need to know. And
Here,
you know.
Johns Hopkins Medicine
Okay.
says that there's the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, the temporal node. Lobe?
Well, earlier, what did you say? You didn't say lobe. You said like lub.
Did I say lub? Well, node. Okay, node is an electronic term, and they've done that.
Nub?
Node.
Instead of node?
They took like brain cells and created like the perfect environment for brain cells to like reproduce in. Like they replicated the environment inside of a human skull, and they took like some brain cells and put them in there, and they grew. It like grew a little brain. And it didn't look like a brain, but it grew a brain-like structure.
Get your hand out of my face. Thank you.
Structure? You're welcome. And it grew eyeballs. It grew 2 little eyeball structures because it was like, it can't see anything.
It went, wait.
And so it made them. They were rudimentary, and
The brain went, we don't do this.
Yeah.
We don't do this. But we're going to try.
Mm-hmm. And then they took it from there and laid it out in a binary system, like computer language.
Yeah.
And they were able to like come up with like this lattice structure thing that they put the brain, this little brain thing that they grew in, and they communicated perfectly, where the brain was able to send electronic signals, and like, so it was like the beginnings of them figuring out how to put computers and brains together because they worked. Anyway, that's not bad science. Well, maybe it's bad, but that's bad as in just like terrifying. But that's like just like brain stuff. It has nothing to do with
That's
the parts
just brain
of the brain.
science.
It's just brain science.
Just brain science.
So how do you feel? Do you feel like we've covered the brain?
How do you feel about what we've done today? One thing I will say is it was always interesting. We didn't need to do this, but in massage therapy school, they showed us that you could feel, you could like have somebody laying down and you could put your fingers at the base of their skull, and you could feel their muscles moving their eyes. And so they said, okay, so just as a fun little exercise, do that until you can feel the muscles back there moving, and then close your eyes and then have your person move their eyes and try and figure out which direction their eyes are moving. And you could tell. And it was very whack.
That's
very
interesting.
Strange. Yeah. It was probably my favorite exercise because it was neat, but it was my least favorite because it was gross.
Because it was gross. Because I'm feeling your eyeballs moving from the back of your head, which you shouldn't be able to do, but you can.
Yeah. Yeah. But it does make sense. I thought about saying occipital, but I was like, maybe that's dumb. But now I'm thinking, of course, your eyes should have their own section of brain.
Right.
They tie directly into it.
There were so many of those things but also the occipital lobe is at the back.
Yeah.
It's in the back there. According to this.
Well, it's because, everything
diagram.
is like up here.
Yeah.
And then your eyes go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There were so many of those regions that I have said before in conversation or known the terms. and just forgot about them entirely.
Have you ever heard that when we see things, we actually see them inversed and upside down,
And your brain
and your brain corrects it? And if
fixes
you,
it because of your lenses.
yeah, and well, just your brain does it. And if you, I heard somebody say that if you wore glasses that did that flipped it all around again, eventually your brain would flip it right side, and whenever you took your glasses off, you'd see it wrong again. But it makes sense because like with monovision.
Oh yeah.
You know, like one eye is set to see things close up and one eye is set to see things far away.
Yeah.
And eventually you don't even notice. Your eyes just, you know, they just do the work and let you see, and you don't notice that you can't see out of this eye for certain things and out of this eye for other things.
Yeah.
So it's pretty neat. The brain is pretty neat. And I don't care about all those colors. I don't care about 180 regions, but what it does is pretty neat. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. I forgive you for that time in high school you tried to kill me.
Yeah, tell them about your
My Vaseline? My basal arteries.
basilisk arteries.
That's what you call them, is my basilisk arteries, which is the opposite of how big they are. No, I was thinking about that because from what my neurologist told me back when I had to go to a neurologist, because I did.
Yeah.
What she told me was that there are arteries in the back of your neck that go up into your brain called basal artery, they're called the basal arteries. But she said that 60% of people have two, and the other 40% have one.
Yeah.
One big one. And she said that technically speaking, or anatomically speaking, the one big one is like the good one. Like it should be that. But for some reason, 60% of people have the less efficient version of having two. But you'd think it'd be more efficient for having two.
Yeah.
That's what she told me. And then she told me that mine were underdeveloped and that they're supposed to be like kind of like pencils in circumference, but mine were like little coffee straws.
Right.
And then she said that my migraines and my brain problems had nothing to do with that. And I was like,
Oh, so it didn't have anything to do with
no,
that?
that's what she told me. She was like, it has nothing to do with that. But I noticed them in your MRI, and I was like, oh, okay.
I always thought that was the problem. You didn't have enough blood running to your brain.
That's what
was the
makes
problem?
sense to me. We never found out. We just found a medicine that could stop me from having them, and I haven't had them in years. No, I know. That's the way it was. We sat in her office for like 2 hours while she just looked at stuff and was like, I don't know. And I don't blame her, but
Dang.
yeah. And she told me about that. But then she told me that if I ever get hit in the back of the neck hard enough, I'll just probably die because my arteries are too small.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Which is cool. I told my wife that. She didn't like that.
You remember when we were kids and you get a straw and you roll it up until it had a little bubble in the middle and then you go and it would.
I might. Yeah.
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 Dang. What about the little Bandaid thing that only women have?
Oh, the little bit. Well, I don't know how to Google that.
Is there a part of the brain that women have that men don't?
Is there a part of the brain that women have and men do not?
Google just says no.
And with that, folks, thank you for listening to this episode of Bad Science.
If you know what I'm talking about with the thingy,
The Bandaid? The little
please
Bandaid?
tell me.
Yeah.
The little Bandaid.
I would like to find out because nothing I'm seeing has it. I've also done precisely 35 seconds of research. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I think I can find it.
Yeah.
With enough clever Google searches, I think I can find
You
it.
can find it. Folks, some small housekeeping. You can't leave us voice messages.
No.
Because that got taken away.
Yeah.
And that's the final answer. 6 episodes into the podcast, I finally know. But you can follow us on Instagram at trickbirdsnetwork. No. It's never.com.
I really want it to be.
I know. At Trickbirds Network. You can check out our launching
I should change
page.
it to .com.
You shouldn't. Actually, you should. That'd be funny.
Can I?
She's going to try. Anyway, but you should follow us on those. Oh, I can look at them. I don't have to look at you when I'm talking to the audience. I can look at the audience.
Oh, yeah.
You can follow us there on social media. You can also leave us a rating on whatever podcast platform you are listening on. Thank you once again to France for providing us with at least one listener.
To France.
Yeah. Remember, folks, even bad science is good science.
Goodbye.
She's whispering a lot, and I'm going to have to edit that in the audio later. Thank you. Anyway, good night.
I can't change it to trickbirdsnetwork.com.
That's fine.
Okay.
This has been a Trick Birds Network production.
Yep. Uh-huh.